Welcome to John Wayne Lied to You, the storytelling podcast featuring me, John Wayne, your friend, your confidant, as well as the person who you are hearing talk now. Welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show. It's another great day. Great day to be alive, I think. Believe it or not, I'm still, even 2 weeks off from it, I'm still basking in the afterglow of Scares That Care a little bit. It's still making me feel warm and fuzzy inside thinking about that time, and what a time it was. Another cool thing about that was I'd mentioned this gentleman on the podcast last week. But Mr. Frank Edler, author and podcaster himself, who has a show called Bizong, the Bizarro and Weird Fiction podcast, had me on as a guest last week. So when you listen to this episode, it'll be like 2 weeks ago. But anyway, if you want to check that out, it's basically he and I talking about Scares That Care and writing and stuff like that, and kind of giving you more of the inside scoop. So just check me out on Bizong, Bizzong. It was a good time, and Mr. Frank's a good guy, so why don't you give his show a listen? Also, still chugging along. Got the little John Wayne train here, always staying busy, always sticking my finger in a bunch of pies, so to speak, or spinning plates, or plugging holes in the dike. No offense. Things have been good. Things have been good here at Old Wayne Manor. And as I sit in the library Mellum, my library of evil, I have my nice frosty Lone Star and my pipe of Grandpappy's medicine, and I think about things like friendship. And friendship is one of those very special things that's intangible, really, when you try to describe how good of friends you are with somebody or what they mean to you. Of course you can. Of course, it can be done. But I like to think not to the full extent that maybe it deserves to be. Now, that being said, this week is one of my very best friend, Kris Jett's birthday. And if you don't know, Kris Jett plays in a band with me called John Wayne is Dead. And we have a big show this weekend for his birthday, which will actually be in the past by the time you hear this. But I assure you, it went well and we were spectacular. But we will be celebrating Kris's birthday that day, and it's going to be a good time. What a time it will be. And, got me thinking about, my pal Kris, my buddy Kris, and so the deal by now, or if you don't, real quick for you, I come on this podcast, and I come on it hard. I'll tell stories from my life that are 100% true. I know it's called John Wayne Lied to You, but I assure you the stories that I tell you are true, and we're just going to keep rolling along with these stories from my life. So, this story is about, in honor of Kris and his birthday, this is about one of the first times that Kris and I ever hung out together, like really hung out together. And the result of that has definitely gotten mixed feedback, but I'll just let you be the judge. This week's story is called B.F.F.s. Kris and I first met probably about 11 years ago, and I think I can pinpoint that pretty accurately because I was managing a Starbucks at the time, and the store I was at had just opened, and I know I was there for 10 years at that store before I quit like a year and a half ago. So we'll say like 11 plus years I've known Kris. And we first met because his brother Mark, shouts out to Mark, also worked at a different Starbucks, and I knew him just from working at Starbucks. And then his brother, who was Chris, was working at this burrito shop that also opened next to my Starbucks, like pretty much the same week that we opened, or maybe a little couple weeks after, something like that. And it was called Moe's, and I don't know if like these even exist anymore. That this one certainly didn't last long, but it was like a I don't know, fucking build your own burrito place or some shit, like a Chipotle or some shit, I guess. Um, I never ate there. I don't think, unless maybe somebody brought us some for free or something. But to my understanding, it's just like, you pick your shit as you walk down the line. They put it in a burrito for you. Boom, bam, here you go. Uh, so it was right next door. So Chris would come in and get coffee. And when I found out he was Mark's brother, I was like, oh shit, what's up, man? And then it was just like he was on the hookup program. I wasn't charging like, a fellow worker's brother, because, this is how we take care of each other. Highly against the rules, but fucking, I don't care, man. I don't play by the rules. Anyway, that's how we met. Now, maybe a couple of years after that, or a year after that, Chris ends up working for me at my store. Um, and he worked there, and we hung out uh, there at work, and we would go out sometimes with the groups, of people and friends after work. And I've been to his house a few times for parties and stuff like that. So I knew him. It wasn't like we were strangers. We worked together, so we were very friendly. We talked to each other, on an almost daily basis. But we hadn't really had a lot of one-on-one time. That real, like, let's see if this shit is real, girl. Is this gonna work, you and me? We hadn't had any of that, like, one-on-one dude hang, type situation. Um, so this was a few years later. I'm trying to pinpoint this, best of my knowledge, 7, 8 years ago, maybe. So maybe I've known Chris for about 2 years or so, and I moved. I recently gotten married, and we've been married like a year, uh, and I am not married anymore, but that's a different story. But my wife and I were looking for a house like in the Houston downtown mid, fucking whatever, close to the city, out of the north side where we were living. So while we were looking for a house in the interim, we stayed at like a luxury apartment uh, place that my wife worked for a developer. So they developed these properties and these luxury apartments and shit like that. So we got to have a room, like a fucking apartment in this building, for very, very cheap. And it was pretty rad. It was like never anything that I would probably be able to afford in real life, but because we got such a deep discount, it worked. So we had to stay there for a few months. We're looking for a house, and this place is like this place is in an area called the Galleria area. They call it that because the Galleria is there, I guess, and centralizes that area. I don't know what the Galleria is. Is it's like the mall of fucking death, dude. It's a huge fucking mall. It's got a skating rink in it. It's got like towers of industry, offices going up super high. It's got fancy restaurants, fancy fucking shops. It's like it's just a huge fucking mall, and it's real like ritzy. You know what I mean? It's like pretty bougie, and it's like I'm so in the Galleria area that I'm practically on top of the goddamn Galleria, because I can see it right out the windows of the apartments directly across the fucking street. And the whole I can see it so well because the entire wall of the apartment that faced the Galleria was floor to ceiling windows. It was pretty fucking rad. And it had big blinds that covered everything, yeah, but when you open them all up, it's just a wall of fucking windows. It was crazy. Anyway, so I'm living out there for like, a few weeks, and my wife, for her work, traveled all the time. Like, she was out, pretty much once a week. She's gone, if not once every other week for a few days. So I was left to, fucking hanging out my own devices, and I did stuff, went to band practice and all that kind of thing. But, one day I'm working with Kris, and I think that, like, I just brought up, like, man, the old lady's out of town. I feel like having some drinks tonight, hanging out, doing something, and Kris was like, yeah, let's do something. I'll do something. And I was like, yeah, you want to do something? Like, yeah, well, I'll come get some drinks. Yeah, I'll get drinks too. Okay, cool, let's do it. And I haven't been out, like, to drink anywhere really in that area. I haven't really ventured out too far. I mean, I kind of felt out in my territory. It's a very nice area, very upscale. Just like, I don't know, it was weird. Unless you're into that, then God bless you, Satan's blessings. But I knew there was a bar across the street that had like some kind of name in Spanish or something, and I was like, "There's this bar right across the street from my apartment. Do you want to meet me at my apartment and we can go?" And at that time, Kris lived like in the area down there by me, like not too far, so it wasn't like it was an easy meeting point. So he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "What is it?" And I was like, "I don't know." I tried to like make it up. Like, I think it's like a dive bar. I haven't been there. I just see it from my window, but it looks kind of divey. I don't know. We can start there. So, you know, that night, Kris shows up at my apartment looking very handsome. No, he, we meet up at the apartment and we walk across the street to this bar. And Kris is like, I don't, is this a dive bar? And I was like, walking up to it, I really don't think so now, but I did. We go in and this place sucks. It's like just not our scene at all. It's very collared shirt, fucking dance music playing, just not our scene. Just, not for everybody, not for us. So we sit there and I think we asked the bartender if there was any other like small bars around that we could like just walk to, and of course there's nothing. And I don't know the area very well, but I did know of one bar called Blanco's. Now I'd known about Blanco's because I'd been once before with my wife and some of her friends from work, but what this place was it was an old honky tonk bar, and possibly like one of the oldest in Houston, if not the oldest. Don't quote me on that, or Google it, or I don't know. It has some claim to fame, right? Um, I'll just let you know it is no more. It has been closed and torn down, like last January or something, which sucks because this place was fucking rad. It was, man, it was like classic country, old school, had that outlaw feel to it. If you like those kind of things, I don't know if you're not from Texas or you're not into old country music and you're listening to this in some other place, it might not be your thing, but if you're into that, it was very fucking cool. It had a lot of history, it had a lot of like very well-known, influential country artists had played there. A lot of great bands toured through there, smaller country acts. And it was just fucking cool, man. And you could go in the afternoon and get like $2 Lone Stars and just hang out. It was just had a very cool vibe, man. It was a very, very cool bar. And I remembered going there and I wanted to go back. So I was like, hey, why don't we try this bar Blanco's? Kris is like, yeah, let's go. So I think it was the first time he'd been there. We get there and did I fail to mention, this is a Tuesday night, by the way. This is not like a Friday, Saturday party rage night. It's a Tuesday. We walk into Blanco's. There's nobody there but one other patron sitting at the bar, two bartenders. Kris and I sit down. We get a couple beers to start with, and we're just talking to the bartender. She's like, what are you guys doing? And we're like, we're just trying to hang out, get a couple drinks. That she had the Astros game on, so we started watching the Astros game and drinking beers. And then we decided to have some whiskey, and deciding what kind of whiskey we want, and we decide on Maker's Mark for some reason. I don't know why, but that's what we chose. So we had one, and we had another beer, and we're getting pretty loose and feeling good now. Bartenders are talking to us, and we're like, hey, all right, this is cool. And We get another whiskey and another beer, and then we notice one of the bartenders, the one that's not talking to us, has gone around and she starts turning off all the neon bar lights all around the bar, and she's like turns the light off over the pool table, and we're like, whoa, what's going on? And I look, and it's like 10 o'clock. And I was like, yeah, y'all aren't closing, are you? And like kind of half joking. And the girl goes, oh yeah, actually we are. And I was like, oh, you are? It's like, yeah, if we're not busy, we just close. And I was like, oh, so we have to leave. And she's like, yeah, just finish your beers, and then y'all can go. We'll close. No rush though. And we're like, all right, shit. So we try to figure out somewhere else to go. So we drink those beers. Like I said, we're just getting like so loose, loose the goose. We're opening up to each other, not about our feelings yet, but just we're vibing. We're becoming friends. This is the time when those things happen. What a time! And we can't. The night can't end. It's only fucking 10. So we're like, all right, let's go somewhere else. We quick decide on a bar called Catbirds, which is still there on Westheimer, down in the Montrose area of Houston, if you're familiar with that at all. Very cool place. Lots of cool things on the street. Catbirds is one of these things. And this is a very, very divey bar. Cheap beer all the time. Cheap Lone Star, cheap drinks. Great. Great for just hanging out, feeling scummy if you want, whatever. Or just a great place. So we go there, and we start drinking beers. And on a shitty ass, like probably 12-inch TV up on one of the shelves above the bar, The Simpsons is playing, and it's not even like like it's staticky and shit. But Kris and I love The Simpsons. That's one of the things we had bonded over, and so we're watching The Simpsons. And I another thing that Kris and I have an affinity for together is tattoos. Now, at this point, Kris was way ahead of me tattoo-wise. He already had like stuff on his forearms and shit, and I hadn't encroached on that territory yet at this time in my life. There were reasons. We can talk about those on another episode, or just call the hotline, and we'll chat. But I did have tattoos. I was working on my half sleeves at least at that time, and I just kind of like had this thought, say it out loud, and I said, if I were to get a Simpsons tattoo, I would get Millhouse, because he just fucking never gives up. He gets shit on by everybody, his parents, his best friend, the bullies, of course, the teachers, but he's just like, he's unflappable, and that's why I would get a Millhouse tattoo. And I remember this very clearly. I don't think I'll ever forget this. Kris drinks the rest of his beer that is in his hand. He just drinks it, puts it down with authority on the bar in front of him, slams both of his fists down on the bar, and says, let's go get Millhouse tattoos. To which I say, yeah, fuck yeah. What else do you say to that? And Kris says, hey, Sam's working right down the street. Let's go now and see if he can do it. See if he's free. And I'm like, oh shit, yeah, fuck yeah, let's do it. So we pay our tab. And then another cool thing about Westheimer, where we are in that area, is you can walk to everywhere. There's just everywhere is within walking distance, including many, many tattoo shops. And we go to this particular tattoo shop where a guy we know named Sam is working, and Kris asks him like, hey man, do you got time to do a couple Millhouses on us tonight? And he says, what? Big Millhouse from The Simpsons? And Kris is like, yeah, we want to both get Millhouse. And he's like, absolutely, yeah, I'll do it. Go get the pictures you need, and I'll finish this tattoo I'm working on, and then we'll do it. We're like, awesome. Now, okay, so let me just stop you there, because I know what you're thinking. Go get the pictures you need. What the fuck is this? Well, this was a time when I guess like I don't think I had a smartphone, or nah, I don't know what was going on, but I remember we asked if they had internet at at the tattoo shop so we could just look up the pictures, and their internet was off because the bill wasn't paid or some shit. And we didn't have ways to look this up on our phone at this time. Like maybe we both had flip phones or some shit. You know what? It was a different time, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry also. So we couldn't look up these pictures of Millhouse. So first we talked about what we wanted. Like we both wanted Millhouse, right? But not the same Millhouse. We didn't want a matching Millhouse, the same exact tattoo, right? We wanted our own individual Millhouses that expressed our individuality. We both decided that neither of us would get the classic and best phrase, "everything's coming up Millhouse," because that was what we clearly both wanted, but we did not want to get a matching tattoo. So we decided what we were going to do. So Kris chose the line from a classic episode where Millhouse thinks he's dying, and in his dying words are, "Bury me at Makeout Creek." So that was what Kris was going to be. And then mine was from the Bone Storm episode where Millhouse puts his name in the video game, and he's like, "You can put your name in the game, Thrill House." And it shows his name, but there's only enough letters for Thrill Ho. And man, it was a conversation, guys, about whether I would do Thrill Ho or Thrill House. Because they never actually used, it didn't say Thrill House, but he said Thrill House. And at the time, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go with Thrill House, the whole word, because I don't want to have to explain Thrill Ho to everyone that asks me what that is. Hindsight, I had to do it over, I would have got Thrill Ho. Thrill House is pretty cool, but it's a little bit like, I feel like maybe I bent to the will of, the ignorant masses or something on that one. But I digress. I regret nothing. So that's what the banners were going to say, but we had to pick the images. So now we're driving around looking for a Kinko's, so we can use their internet and print out pictures to take back to him to draw. And we drive around for a while till we find one that Kris thinks he knows where he remembers it is. Turns out he was right the second time. We get there, we go through all these pictures of Millhouse. Kris picks one for him, I pick one for me. We go back to the tattoo shop. Time has been passing. It's almost like midnight. Then we call our friend Paige. Shouts out to Paige. Because we're like, who would appreciate this and want to hang out with us while we wait for him to finish? Paige. So we called her or texted her, said, "Hey, we're getting Millhouse tattoos." And she was just pretty much replied, "I'll be right there." Paige drives up. It's all good. We get another 6-pack of beer. We're hanging out at the tattoo shop. We get hungry. Then they go. We're hanging out. We get hungry. Sam goes to start Kris's tattoo, and Paige and I go get pizza. So we leave. We go get like Star Pizza. Shouts out Star Pizza, whatever. We get some pizza. I think we took some back for Kris. It's getting like later and later, and we've been drinking a lot. And then like he finishes Kris, starts mine, and this guy, he's a good guy, but he smoked cigarettes, so he takes a lot of breaks. I don't know, like that's something that's like kind of hit or miss with a lot of the tattoo artists, at least in my experience. The ones that smoke, man, they like to take a lot of smoke breaks. Just been my experience. No shade thrown on any smoking tattoo artists out there. I love you all. But that was my experience. So we took a lot of breaks. Anyway, we get done with these tattoos at 4 a.m. We've been at that tattoo shop all night, drinking beer, eating pizza, getting tattooed. We both have killer fucking headaches. Drive home, pretty much like get back home at like 5 or something. Kris had to be at work at 11. I had to be at work at 2. I go home, I sleep. My wife calls me when I wake up. I tell her that Kris and I got tattooed. She says that's the stupidest thing ever. She can't believe I did that. And she can't believe that I got a tattoo on a whim like that and that we got matching tattoos. And I said, no, we didn't get matching tattoos. It's not the same tattoo. And she said, you both got Millhouse, right? And I said, yeah. She said, they're matching tattoos. I said, no, they're not matching. It doesn't look anything like his. It's completely different. Anyway, I wasn't going to win that one. Turns out Kris's wife also had the same thing to say. Or maybe I don't know if they were married yet, but they are now still. And she also said we got matching tattoos, to which he said, no, we didn't. Then I get to work a couple hours after Kris. We're both like the Walking Dead, completely hungover and tired. And everybody there is like, let me see you guys matching tattoos you got. Everybody thought we got matching fucking tattoos. They were not matching. They were different. They're different tattoos. They're just both of Millhouse. We just happened to get them both the same day, same time, because it was fucking awesome. Okay? And I don't appreciate the aspersions that were cast on us at that time. I'm sorry. I guess it's a sensitive subject. Telling it's bringing up the emotions, the feels, but it's okay. It's in the past now. And what it really represents is the beginning of a beautiful friendship of clearly two men who are in man love with each other, who play in a band together, who've slept in a bed together consensually, who Kris has a child. It's not my child, but it's a good kid, and I feel like I'm right there with him. Henry, your Uncle Wayne loves you. Anyway, that Millhouse tattoo was the start of a friendship that I am truly, truly happy that I have today. Because Kris, even though we sometimes bicker like old ladies, and he quits the band almost every day, actually, we understand each other, and I think we love each other, and we are, at least I think he is special to me and important. And we've gone on from that tattoo to get some matching tattoos, ya bitches. Yes, ones that are exactly the goddamn same. And let me tell you how awesome that is. We're on tour. We played our show in Dallas. We walked down the street after our set to Oliver Peck's shop, and we both got old school, traditional style hearts with a banner over them that says AD4, the number 4L, which means awesome dudes for life, because that's what we are. And then we were on Tattoo Island. We were on tour again another time with Bobo. Shouts out Bobo. And we were in Austin, and we stopped in at a tattoo shop and got the coffin that's on the front of our second 7-inch record. And we both got those, and they're matching. So we've gone on to get these matching tattoos. If you want to say it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, that's on you. I think it's a self-fulfilling friendship. Ah, what a time for friends. What a time for tattoos. Those that match and those that do not. Clearly do not. But anyway, that's my story about one of my best friends and how we kind of came together into awesomeness. And now we play in a great band that you should check out called John Wayne is Dead. You can go to johnwayneisdead.com for all of our music and links, and you can order records or just download the music for free. If you want to throw us a couple bucks, that's great too. But check out our schedule, and if you're in the area or we're coming to your area, come check us out, and it'd be cool. Because I think that we would have a fun time together as friends. What a time. No, seriously, check it out. And also, my new book, John Wayne Lied to You, Mostly True Accounts of the Adventures of a Modern Day Hero, out and about, my friends. Which came first, the podcast or the book? The book or the podcast? I don't know. You got to tune in to find out. But the book is available, so please swing on over to the Amazons, and why don't you buy you one? Do it for Johnny. Do it for Uncle Johnny. He'll have to sweep the leg if you don't, and he doesn't want to do that. So anyway, check out that. Also, my other books are there: Charge Land, Ant Poster, The Porn Star Retirement Plan. Uh, my new book on Grindhouse Press, Death Packs and Left Hand Paths, comes out in October, but we'll talk about that more later. Uh, but anyway, I appreciate all of you for joining me in this waxing poetic of friendship times and the importance of thus, them, those. Shit. Anyway, thanks, guys. Be sure to go to johnwayneisdead.com to check out all the stuff, all my readings, check out my books, and check yourselves out. Bye.